And today is Wednesday, Tuesday, the 5th of November, and we are going to learn about the coordinate plane and slope today. Your bell work is located on page 62. After the bell work, we're going to take notes on page 73 to 76. We're going to watch a video on Slope Dude, and then we're going to do our classwork and homework on pages 77 to 79. All right, so let's begin with your bell work. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then I will give you the answers. All right, here are the answers to the bell work that you should have. In problem number 23, how many cups of flour are needed to make 5 dozen muffins? The answer is 11.25, or you could have said 11 1/4 cups. Either one of those answers would be correct. In problem number 24, there would be more than one answer for this problem. This is an example of one of the answers you could have. An amusement park line for passengers waiting to ride a roller coaster is moving about 16 feet every 10 minutes. Jason and his friends are standing 40 feet from the front of the line. Select values to set up a proportion to represent this situation. All right, so I would suggest you would put feet, 16 feet, and 10 minutes. That would equal 40 feet would be how many minutes? And you would set it up like that. Now, the answer to my proportion is going to be 25 minutes. Are there any questions? You would do cross products on that one. You would have 10 times 40 equals 16 times x. Then you would divide both sides by 16. And 400 divided by 16 is 25. 25 equals x. That's how you would solve that proportion. Now let's go on to question number 25. In question number 25, it states, the table shows the cost to have various numbers of pizzas delivered from Papa's Slice of Italy Pizzeria. Is the relationship between the cost and the number of pizzas proportional? No, it is not. Now, this is a nice way to explain it without having to use a lot of words. You're using mathematical symbols. You would say that $12.50 over 1 is not equivalent, and you do an equal sign with a line through it, to 20 over 2. And that is not equivalent to $27.50 over 3, which is not equivalent to 35 over 4. That's an easy way to show justification without using a lot of words. Now, let's look at question number 26. In question number 26, it says, Brenna charges $15, $30, $45, and $60 for babysitting 1, 2, 3, and 4 hours, respectively. Is the relationship between the amount charged and the number of hours proportional? If so, find the unit rate. If not, explain why not. Yes, this is proportional because the unit rate is 15 over 1. All of them will simplify to 15 over 1, all of the other ratios. Okay, now let's go to number 27. Find each unit rate, miles per gallon. So here we have 50 miles for 2.5 gallons. We want to know how many miles on 1 gallon. Unit rate means per 1. So you would set it up as 50 over 2.5 equals x over 1. You would divide 50 by 2.5 and you end up getting 20 equals x. So you can go 20 miles on 1 gallon of gas. Our mystery number is 20. In the next one, you have 2,500 kilobytes in 5 minutes. We want to know how many kilobytes in 1 minute. Well, you divide it by 5 and you end up getting 500 kilobytes in 1 minute. Any questions on the bell work for today? All right, then let's go to the problems that you had to do for homework last night, and we're going to go over the answers for these problems. Okay. We will do that at the end. For some reason, I can't get it to show up for a pause that I was wanting it to do. All right. Okay. Well, let me quickly get the page over here. Yesterday's homework was on page 59. So let me find page 59, and we'll put the answers up here. Here we go. All right. So the answers that we have for page 59, here we go. Number 1, cross products. You have 6 times 10 equals 1 5/10 p. Divide both sides by 1 5/10. 40 equals p. Any questions? On the next one, you have 11p equals 44 times 5. Divide both sides by 11. P equals 20. All right, some of you don't have your paper out. I can't put it on pause, so 6th period is going to hear me correcting you and saying your names. Make sure you have your homework out and you are grading it at this time. Thank you. The next one, you have 4/10 W times equals 2 times 7/10. Divide both sides by 4/10. W equals 3 5/10. In problem number 4, we have dollars and eggs. $1.12 for 12 eggs equals how much money for 3 eggs? They want to know for 3. Cross products. 12x equals 3 times $1.12. Divide both sides by 12 and you get 28 cents for number 4. In problem number 5, Sheila mixed 3 ounces of blue paint with 2 ounces of yellow paint. She decided to create 20 ounces of the same mixture. How many ounces of yellow paint does Sheila need for the new mixture? Now, the 20 ounces is considered a total. It's a combination of the yellow and the blue. So in your proportion for number 5, you're going to set it up as yellow to total. Yellow to total. All right. We're now ready for the proportion. 3 ounces of blue, 2 ounces of yellow. So I had to put a 2 with the yellow. What's my denominator going to be? Yes. No, it's a total. What's the total amount when you mix the yellow and the blue? 5. Yeah, it's a total. So 2 over 5 equals our mystery number. We don't know how much yellow, but we know we have a total of 20 ounces. That is your proportion. Now let's solve it. You're going to have 5 times x equals 2 times 20, which is 40. Divide by 5, divide by 5, and x equals 8. So how many ounces of yellow paint? 8 ounces yellow paint. Any questions on how I have that problem? I will be collecting this paper at the end, so please make sure you have everything shown in order to get your points. Remember, the answer is worth only 1 point. The work is worth more, so you have to show your work the way I'm showing this. In this one, in particular, the work is 3 points. the answer is 1 point. So out of 4 points, the work is 3 points. Make sure you show it the way I've asked you to show it. Okay, let's go on to number 6. Okay, they want you to, first of all, use a unit rate and write an equation and solve. So you're going to get points for a unit rate, writing an equation, and getting the answer. And then there'll be a step before the answer. So these are at least 4 to 5 points depending on how many steps it takes. Number 6. A car can travel 476 miles on 14 gallons of gas. Write an equation relating the distance d, so you have to use the variable d, to the number of gallons g, the other variable you will use is a g. How many gallons of gas does this car need to travel 578 miles? First, we find our unit rate. 476 divided by 14 equals 34. So our unit rate is 34 miles for 1 gallon of gas. Okay, the equation. Distance equals 34 times g. How far can you go on g number of gallons? So, in the problem, the distance you are going is 578. You replace d with 578. So now you have the equation 578 equals 34g. So our unit rate would be worth a point. Your equation is worth a point. Your substitution's a point. Then you have to do the divisions a point. And then finally your answer is a point. And you get 17 gallons. You need 17 gallons to travel 578 miles. So as you can see in this problem, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. The answer is only 1 of the 5 points. Any questions on how to get all of the points for when we do a quiz on this later on? Okay, let's go on to number 7. Mrs. Baker paid $20.50 for 5 pounds of bananas. All right, so I'm going to find my unit rate. $2.50 divided by 5 is going to give you 50 cents. Okay, so my unit rate is $50 or 50 cents per pound. 50 cents for 1 pound. Now we have to write an equation. Write an equation relating the cost to the number of pounds. So we're going to use a C and a P of bananas. How much would Mrs. Baker pay for 8 pounds of bananas? So my cost is going to be, my equation, C equals 50 cents times P. So that's the equation. Does everyone have that for their equation? Now we're going to do the substitution. We know that she has 8 pounds. You're going to replace P with an 8. So C equals 50 cents times 8. And then you're going to get the cost equals, did you get $4 for that one? Yes, $4. Any questions on how to get all of the points in this problem? Okay, let's go on to the next one. Our next problem is number 8. And in problem number 8, there we go. It says, a woman who is 64 inches tall has shoulders with a width of 16 inches. Write an equation relating the height to the width. Okay, her height equals 4 times W. Okay, there's your equation. Find the height of a woman who has shoulders width of 18.5 inches. So you're going to have H equals 4 times 18.5. And your answer is going to be 74 inches. Any questions on that problem? All right, now this one would only be worth 3 points. Your equation, your substitution, and then your answer. Any questions? All right, now we're going to go to the page for our lesson, which is on page 73. So let's go to page 73. Page 73. Hero Comics prints on recycled paper. The table shows the total number of pounds of recycled paper that has been used each day during the month. All right. The third day of the month, 36 pounds. The fifth day, 6 pounds. The sixth day of the month, 72 pounds. The seventh day of the month, 84. And the 12th day of the month, 144. Graph the ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Now, when you graph, kids, we're going to use these as ordered pairs. This is your X and this is your Y. So you have the ordered pair 3, 36. Go over to where the 3 is. It's in between the 2 and the 4. Go up to where the 36 would be. It's going to be close to the middle between 25 and 50. Any questions on that? All right, the next point we're going to graph is the ordered pair 5, 60. Go over to the 5, up to where you think the 60 is going to be. It's going to be in between 50 and 75. The next one is the ordered pair 6, 72. Go over to the 6, up to where you think the 72 is. It's going to be below the 75. The next ordered pair, 784. You're going to go over to the 7, up to where you think the 84 is going to be. And the last one is 12, 144. Over to the 12, up to where you think the 144 is. Are there any questions on that? Does everyone have that? Okay. You know what, kids? It's not recording. I don't think it's recording. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes, it is. For some reason, it is acting up today. So, I'm glad to know that it is working. All right. Now, it says, explain why the graph is linear. Well, if I connect the dots, it should make a straight line. Points are in a straight line. Okay? Write that down. Use 2 points to find the constant rate of change. Well, point 1 is 336. Point 2 is 560. The change in pounds. Okay, pounds is my Y. This one is my pounds. Okay, Y. So what's the difference between 60 and 36? 24. What's the change in days? Between a 5 and a 3, it's 2. Do you see how I got that? Okay, that's going to form our constant rate of change. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So the constant rate of change would be 12 pounds per day. We will work on constant rate of change again tomorrow and later this week. This is not our only day to do constant rate of change. Let's turn the page and go to page 74. On page 74, we're going to learn about slope, the definition of slope. Slope is the rate of change between any 2 points on a line. Okay, it's the amount of change between 2 points on a line. Okay? So, the change in Y over the change in X. Does everyone know in an ordered pair which one is the X and which one's the Y? So, when we have an ordered pair, this is your X. See how they label it X? So let's say this one is x, it's going to be 1, and the one going vertical is your y. For this point, it's going to be 1, 1. Okay? Let's do another point because you need 2 points. So there's 1 point. Let's use the point that has the x with a 2 in our ordered pair. So a 2, you go over to the 2, up to the 3. Okay, so we found 2 points. The change in y is on top. So y. What is 3 minus 1? 2. 3 minus 1 over the change in x. 2 minus 1. So the 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So the constant rate of change is 2 over 1, which equals 2. That's how they came up with the 2. Any questions? Okay, now we're going to go on to the word slope. In a linear relationship, the vertical change, that's the change that goes like this, change in y, or it's the change in y value per units of horizontal change. Horizontal is like this. Change in x value is always the same. This ratio is called the slope of the function. The constant rate of change, or unit rate, so constant rate of change and unit rate are the same, is the same as the slope or the related linear relationship. The slope tells how steep the line is. The vertical change is sometimes called rise. So the vertical change is rise. When you stand up, you rise. That's a vertical movement, okay? While the horizontal change is called the run. When you run, you don't run up and down, you run horizontal with the horizon. You stay on the earth. You're not like a rocket going up. You can say that slope equals rise over run. Okay, so slope is rise over run. Rise, it's your y, run is your horizontal. We will be doing this, as I said, again tomorrow if you have any questions. All right, so let's continue. Count the number of units that make up the rise of the line in the graph shown above. Write this number for the numerator of the fraction. Okay, so my rise from 1 to this point here is 1, 2, 3. The rise is 3. Put a 3 where the rise is. Now, what is the run? How far is it horizontally to go from this point to this point? 1, 2. That is how you get your 2. Any questions? So the rise over the run. So the slope of the line is 3 over 2. Don't change it to a mixed number. You keep it an improper fraction. Okay? All right. Now let's go to problem number 1, or excuse me, example number 1. The table below shows the relationship between the number of seconds y it takes to hear thunder after a lightning strike and the miles x you are from the lightning. Graph the data and find the slope. Explain what the slope represents. Again, kids, if you are having problems, you can go to your ebook and click on the watch video and on the tutor button if you have any questions on understanding this concept. All right, so here we go. We have the ordered pair 0, 0. They put a dot there. 1, 5. Over 1, up to the 5. Over 2, up to where the 10 is. Over 3, up to where the 15 is. Over 4, 20. 5, 25. Okay, they want to find the slope of this line. The change in y over the change in x. Okay, so I'm just going to find 2 points. Here, they chose this point and this point. What is the rise? Well, the rise is going to be 25 minus 15, which is 10. It's not 2, kids. It's 10. You go by the numbers here. 25 minus 15 is 10. Then you go by the horizontal units. Here, you're going from a 3 to a 5, which is a 2. Does everyone see how we got the 10? Do you see how we got the 2? You're not going to say, well, it's 2 over 2 because you go up 2. No, you got to look at what the values are on the y-axis. So we end up with 10 over 2. When you simplify it, the slope is 5. So for every 5 seconds between a lightning flash and the sound of thunder, there is 1 mile between you and the lightning strike. Now you're going to do A. Practice problem A. Graph the data about plant height for a science fair project. Then find the slope of the line. Explain what the slope represents in the work zone. I'm going to put it on pause and have you do the problem now. So this is what your graph should look like. Your point should look like this. Then find the slope. So we have graphed it. Then find the slope of the line. Explain what the slope represents in the work zone. All right, you're going to go, so this is your rise, and this is your run. So between this point and this point, I go up 1.5, and my run is 1. So it's 1.5 over 1. That's the slope. What does the slope mean? The plant grows 1.5 centimeters per week, or per 1 week. Any questions? Let me move this over so you can see it a little bit better on the screen up there. And now we're going to go on to page 76. On page 76, we have example number 2. In example 2, it says Ronaldo opened a savings account. Each week, he deposits $300. Draw a graph of the account balance versus time. Find the numerical value of the slope and interpret it in words. Okay, so in this example 2, here we have the graph. Starts at $0. Each week he deposits $300. That is week 1, week 2, and so on. The numerical value, the difference for the rise is 300, and the run, the difference between each one of those here, if I chose this one, these 2 points, my rise is 300 and my run is 1. So it's $300 per week. Now let's do practice problem B. Jessica has a balance of $35 on her cell phone account. She adds $10 each week for the next 4 weeks. In the work zone, graph the account balance versus time. Find the numerical value of the slope and interpret it in words. All right, I'm going to put it on pause. So here we have the answer for B. When you do this problem here, so we start here. Jessica has a balance of $35. She adds $10 each week. So the first week, 35 plus 10 is $45. Then you add another 10, 55, another 10, 65, another 10, 75. All right. Find the numerical value of the slope and interpret in words. Okay, so here we have the slope. It doesn't start at 0 on this one, so we go the distance between 2 points. All right, between this point and this point. So we have the difference of y, which would be 55 minus 45 over my x. And it would be, if we between this point and this point, 2 minus 1. You end up getting 10 over 1. So the slope is $10 per 1 week. Jessica deposits $10 each week. Now let's go on to the guided practice. And in the guided practice, problem number 1, it states the table at the right shows the number of small packs of fruit snacks Y per box X. Graph the data. Then find the slope of the line. Explain what the slope represents. Okay, so I already have done this problem. We graph the data. You go over 3 up to 12. So everyone, you go over 3 up to the 12. Over 5 up to 20. Over 7 up to 28. Okay, everyone have your points drawn? Okay, so we've graphed the data. That is taken care of. Then find the slope. Well, I'm going to use this point and this point. All right, so with that, what's the difference between 20 minus 12? 20 minus 12 equals 8. And here we have the distance of 3 and 5. 5 minus 3 equals 2. So my slope is 8 over 2, when simplified, equals 4 over 1. What does that mean? There are 4 types of fruit per box. Any questions? Okay, then this is what I'm going to have you work on for homework tonight. On page, and classwork, on page 77, I would like for you to do 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to do all of the problems on page 77. Do all. Then, on the next page, 78, I want you to do all. On page 79, let me wait just a second. I think I'm going to have you do, let's see, I think we're going to do number 4. I want you to do number 4, where you come up with words, a picture of slope, and numbers. I'll give you an answer to that here in just a little bit. So we're going to do that one in class. I would like for you to try to do number 5. I'm going to let you skip 6, 7, and 8. For right now, we're going to skip 6, 7, and 8. On page 79, I do want you to do 9 and number 10. And then we will stop there. All right? So let's go to the page 78, what I would like for you to have written down for the graph on page 78. For this problem here, an example of what you would write for words on this problem will be slope is the rate of change between any 2 points on a line. Okay. Then let's draw a picture of it. I would draw a line where it goes through your points. I would put the points down first. Let's say I'm going to put a point here, and you got to make sure they're in a straight line. Okay, connect your points. Again, you want to make sure they're in a straight line. And the slope is going to be between this point, the rise over the run. Rise over the run. And it's always going to be the same between any 2 points. The rise and the run will be the same. And then we're going to use the numbers that match the graph here. So I'm going to use point let's see, 1, 1, and 2, 3. Actually, it's going to be 0.01, 0.01, and 0.23. Okay, did I go over to, oh, actually I'm going to use 0, 1, and I went 2, 5. I actually went up 5 on my graph. Your graph might be different. Okay, so the slope, remember, is the difference in y. 5 minus 1 over the difference in x. 2 minus 0. So my slope is going to be 4 over 2, which equals 2. Any questions on that? Okay, you can go ahead and work on this. If you get finished and there's extra time, do fracs. Have a good day.